It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Let somebody know that I am live on the air. I was running behind. And I was running behind because I was just having a good conversation with another man. And when a man wants to talk to you, like, I don't know, it's an honor to me. When, especially African American men, because African American men, I remember I was taking counseling classes, are some of the hardest people to have conversations with about our lives. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that.
And so, yeah, that was honor. So I lost track of time. So I get up thinking that I've been in there about a half hour. I've been in there an hour, 15 minutes. And they're like, oh, yeah, I know you got to go to the radio. I'm like, what? Oh, shucks. Is it noon? So I just say to all men out there, especially men of color, I don't think it's bad to talk about that. That probably most of us go through the same things, but I got Rob Cornelius, by the way, with me. I got Duncan here today. We're going to be talking to Eva Doyle. We're going to be talking about McKinley. We're going to be talking about education, period, and some thoughts that I have and thoughts that other people have. Rob, you married.
I think you married me.
I married you. I married you to a beautiful woman inside and out. But men, we don't really talk about relationships.
We bottle it up.
We bottle it up. We definitely do. And I tell people I don't do counseling at all. I do conversations. And when a black man says he wants to talk, and then once you talk it and you figure out we all we do the same things. We bottle up. We sometimes complain more than we compliment. And that's a learned behavior that we have to unlearn, because rules without relationships breeds rebellion. And so we have these beautiful women in our lives. If you have a beautiful woman in your life, and I'm not talking about physical beauty, I'm talking about a woman who's down for you.
Yes.
And yeah, sometimes we just dumb. But when you talk to another man, and I know that's not what this show is about, but I wanted to explain why I was late. And you talking to a man, and then that light goes on, like for both of y'all, you're like, what? You two? Shut up. Nah, you got to be kidding me. And it was just one of those conversations. So I want to thank the radio audience for understanding, or even if they don't, but that's my heart. That's my heart. Because we hold in, we don't talk. And I think about, Mark and I talk about this a lot, all of the adult males, besides my dad, and that's kind of a different conversation that you have sometime with your dad, then are gone. Like, they've passed on, So I've had people in my life, and I can name them, that I could talk to about different things. They've passed on, so I became now kind of the dad, and that kind of space where, well, where does the dad go? Well, yeah, we can go to Jesus, but every once in a while, you need somebody who's been married
Yes.
or who has kids or who has teens. I'm 57 years old with a 13 and 14-year-old. It's a whole different life again, because as I've said before in the show, like, they're changing, I'm changing, and sometimes we're not changing in the same direction. And the thank God part, I got to thank God for this, is I have two respectful teenagers as far as respecting me and respecting the house and being kind. And my son can walk in my office at home if I'm eating and I finish and the plate is there, he'll pick it up automatically. Pops, Papa, you want me to get this? Yeah. I don't have, and times, they get older. I'm sure I'm in for some rough water, but I'm grateful to that. I'm grateful to have a wife that when I say A, B, and C, it's A, B, and C when it comes to the boys, and that we're not going at it. So men out there, We all in this together. Rob, what's up?
Oh, man, just an honor to be here today.
You got something coming up. RC Enterprises, from the hood to the boardroom. Tell me about RC Enterprises.
RC Enterprise is something I started about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I just wanted to find another way to reach my community.
Yeah.
And my slogan is, anybody who know me know I'm a guy from the Town Garden.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a guy who would drive in the Town Garden Plaza and talk to the fellas. So when I say from the hood to the boardroom,
Yeah.
because I can talk to the biggest gangster to the CEO.
And you, I mean, not to put your business out there, but you do work for a financial institution.
Yes, I do.
In which you're a manager of a branch.
Exactly.
And it took you how long to reach that level when you started with this company?
You know, I started with KeyBank 2016. I became a manager in 2019.
Wow.
Yes.
And what did you start off as?
They won't believe that, Pridge.
Yeah.
I was a level 1 agent. I'm going to give y'all the dollars so y'all will understand what growth is.
Uh-huh.
I was a level 1 agent making $12.50 an hour.
Right now, you can't make that at McDonald's. You make $15 at McDonald's.
Yes.
$12. You know how wild this is, Rob? Some people think I have so much.
Mm-hmm.
I was cleaning out my file cabinet the other day. I found a check from when I got out of the Air Force, and I was working for what was then LaSalle Ambulance. I was a dispatcher. I was making $4 an hour with a kid.
Yes.
$4 an hour with a family. $4 an hour. I also found a check stub where I was making $3-something an hour. And I've always consistently held a job.
Yes.
Since I was 14 years old. Got my first job at Niagara Lutheran Home. I was just telling the brother, there might be a rumor out there that I sold drugs, I hustled. I ain't never sold drugs. I don't even know how to sell drugs. I'm watching a series right now, and the boy went to, I don't know, sell a gram or something. I don't even know what a gram looks like. This is the truth. I've always had a job, always didn't mind working. Yes. For what I wanted money. I wanted money. I would go to school and work most of my adult life, beginning of my adult life, so that I could keep a job, you know? So you started level 1 agent.
Yes.
And what happened?
I was there. A young lady by the name of Kwanzaa Humphreys walked past my station and said, "What are you doing here?" Mm-hmm. And I looked at her like she was crazy. Was
she working for the bank?
Kwanzaa was a big wig at the bank.
Okay.
She knew me. I didn't know her.
Okay.
And she basically told me that you don't belong in the call center.
You were in the call center?
I was in the call center.
You wasn't even behind
the...
Okay. You were in the call center.
Thank you for calling.
Uh-huh.
Robert speaking. I may help you.
Uh-huh.
This is...
Did you wear silk ties then, too?
No. I wore sweatsuits and hoodies.
Okay. So she says to you that you didn't belong in that spot.
Yes.
Okay. Why did she say? And I'm only, I don't know. I think maybe it's just Man of Color Day. Like, I'm trying to celebrate brothers doing the right thing.
You know, she told me she knew who I was.
Yeah.
And she know that I'm a natural salesman, and she know me sitting in these phones is not doing nothing for me or my career.
African American woman.
African American woman. If anybody know Kwanzaa Humphreys, it's her.
So it reminds me of this woman at the post office by the name of Rhonda. Her maiden name is Rhonda Spates, who saw something in me. Now, I had one supervisor who couldn't see nothing in me when I was trying to see something in me. Mm-hmm. All she was trying to do was hold me down. You can walk in, do this, you know. All she was trying to do was hold me down. I'll just say things happened where she ended up going out on sick leave for an extended period of time. Rhonda stepped in, and I went right up the ladder, climbed. Now, I ain't saying nobody. I had somebody there to hold. There's a book out called something to the effect, "Watch Who's Holding Your Ladder." Everybody, you got to climb, but we all have somebody who usually is holding the ladder so that we don't fall off, right? Rhonda was that person who that woman was to you.
Yes.
She saw something in me, helped me, and so then you went from there to where?
I went to Tops, KeyBank inside Tops on Maple Road.
As a manager?
No.
As a
personal banker.
Okay.
I had
You had Tops. I mean, you went from the call center to Tops Market.
Yep.
Okay.
Bank inside Tops on Maple. That was the only in-store that we had.
Okay.
And first couple of months was learning.
Uh-huh.
Then after that, I brought every small business in the city to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I say about a year and a half after that,
Yeah.
they was closing that branch, and my manager said, well, what branch do you want to go to? I said, my own.
Wow.
And he said, excuse me?
Because you weren't the manager of that
No.
branch. Okay.
But I knew I was ready.
Yeah.
I told him my own. Then he followed up a couple of days later, what branch you want to go to? My own. So then he called me to his office. On a Friday night, he called me and said, come see me on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I got there on Monday. It wasn't a typical interview. It was you're explaining the position to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was learning the staff, learning the position, what I'll be in charge of, what I'll be doing. I'm trying to give him my resume. He said, I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
I went back, called my wife, said, this was strange.
Mm-hmm.
And about a week later, he called me and said, you by yourself? I said, I'm at my desk. Well, I'm going to call your cell phone, go for a walk. And that's when he offered me the position.
He said, he said, go walk.
Yeah, go for a walk. So he can call and let me know. And he offered me the position. It was January 15th of 2020 when I got the position.
Wow. And you've been there ever since?
Number one in small business.
Really? And which branch are you at now?
Medical campus.
Because where were you at before?
Tops. I
Medical
went straight
campus.
to medical
All right.
campus.
So number one in small business.
Yes.
So you got this organization, RC Enterprises, and let me just say, I'm proud of you, bro. I'm proud of the fact that you found the Lord sent you a wonderful woman. You climbed up the ladder. You showing the example of what being a man is, and end of the day, you're doing something now coming up, and it's not for you.
No.
It's for other people. Tell us about what's coming up.
I'm very excited. This is the first, I'm going to say first annual because we're going to do it every year. It's called the Buff City Awards.
Okay.
And that's where I'm honoring small business and people who actually making some major moves, especially during the pandemic in the city, but in our community.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I look at people who really don't get the recognition they deserve. You know, I look at Bruce Warwick. You know, I see Bruce.
I just saw something about Bruce
Yeah.
the other day. Matter of fact, it was from you. Right.
Bruce go out and preach the word on the street.
Hard.
And he don't care what you think.
He don't
about
care
him.
if it's in the street, in the back hallway of a church. He don't
Yes.
care if it's in Tops. Bruce is the same all the time, no matter what the setting is. All right.
Bruce Warwick, Rhonda Wilson and Black Nurses. Her husband, Dennis Wilson.
Yeah, yeah.
This bishop that I know
Yeah.
very well, that I call him my dad.
Yeah, that you could have skipped all over that one.
You know what? I'm going to say this, Bishop. You're the most humble person I know, and you put the most work in. And you don't complain. You don't
Just not in
blink an
public.
eye. Yeah, that's what we all do. You just go do it. The work get done, you go do it. I got a call about you yesterday. Guess what? We're going to make it happen. You go do it.
I tried my best.
That's the role model I look at.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, when you look at men role models, it's not a lot of us out here, but we all need somebody to look up to.
And I think that's why today I was so excited about the meeting I just left, or conversation, is because we do need each other.
Yes.
And I think that, and especially Buffalo, what I hope to leave is a legacy of trying to build up other people more than myself. Because at the end of the day, I need to lift you up so you can lift somebody else up and they lift somebody else up. If we go to a more, I hate to use this term, but it's true, a progressive area where African Americans are doing more of their thing, there's still going to be jealousy, there's still going to be all that, but it's a different type. It's the, you got to kill it to eat it syndrome. Like, I'm out here hustling. And at the end of the day, I think that we have been taught in our history, and I'm going to have Eva Doyle on in a minute, how to not do for one another, how to be jealous of one another, and not been to the bank and you have a desk with your name on it. When your wife goes to the hospital or where she works and she's a head nurse.
Yes.
that's a joy that some people of color feel like other people's water tastes better. I'm not that person. Water is water, and as long as you're giving me the same service or even better, then why not promote it?
And what I find with us, that's why I go so hard with my events. What I find with us, like I lived in Macon, Georgia for 15 years, and I saw those black men, they was together.
The South.
If Duncan got a clothing store, and I'm selling paper bags, they bringing bags to Duncan's store. I know you need some bags today. Just hit me on the back end.
Yeah.
Here, you'll call somebody, yo, bro, I need some bags, man. I don't have none. And they sitting on cases for them.
And that's our responsibility to start changing that and
Yes.
continue to change it. I have some incredible friends in business. I talk about Monique. Monique buys. If you're African American business, she gonna buy the cream to put on her face that she ain't never even tried out, and she gonna put it on Facebook and Instagram and whatever else, because that's who we are, and we all eat better. And the one thing that we don't do, I can go to a African American restaurant and have the worst meal of my life. I ain't saying nothing. I'm not going to try to hurt, because that's not my business to hurt somebody else. I'm going to find something in that restaurant to brag about. I'm going to brag about the sweet tea. If that's all I can brag about, I'm going to brag about the sweet tea, because it's important to me. Because when we go to a Lenny's, we don't do the same thing.
No, we do not.
And this is corporate America, and so at the end of the day, I want you to know how proud I am. May the 21st, Buff City Awards at the Mahogany on Minerva. Now, tell me about the Mahogany.
Mahogany, now, here's the backstory. Mahogany is owned by Trina and Kwanzaa,
who at one time both were in banking. Now one is still in banking, and one works for United Way.
Yes. And that's the same Kwanzaa who put me in position.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yes.
That's crazy. They bought this place. The family bought Mahogany. I've been there before. Very proud of them and what they're doing. So you're taking your event that's honoring people in our community to a location that's owned by people who come from our community.
Yes, sir.
I love it, bro. Who else is being honored there that night?
I'm going to go real quick. Let me see. Pastor Kenny Simmons.
Just talked to him yesterday.
LaShawn Black. Tajay Wilson. There's so many.
Okay, you don't have to go through them all, but it's a list, and it's a list. People can get tickets. Tickets are $60, or you can get it.
I dropped the ticket price on purpose.
Okay.
So, tickets are $60, but you can get a table for $450 instead of $500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can get a table for $450.
So that brings it to $45 a ticket.
Yes, and I'm gonna let you guys
get
know
a table.
That it's only 18 tables on purpose, and they're going quick. 18
tables, you can get it for $450. Is this a formal event?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I figured it.
We got to put it on.
You got to put it on. Yeah. So we're gonna be out at the Mahogany on May the 21st, Saturday, May the 21st. In Tonawanda, and for the Buff City Awards. So how can they get more information?
You can call me at 716-247-1817, or go to Facebook and look up Rob Cornelius.
Rob Cornelius.
My Eventbrite is up there.
And the Eventbrite is up there. Come on out. Let's have a good time. It's going to be some dancing.
Yeah, we can have a little dancing.
A little dancing. After. Yeah. You got to have a little dance.
Just a little dance.
Just a little.
I can't dance by no rounding and dance, so.
I can't either. I mean, I cool dance.
That's what I do.
I do like this. I cool dance.
My head be moving, my feet say stuff.
Yeah. Well, my wife. That's why I don't like doing I don't even know the little line dance no more, but. Because she do it backwards and be moving when it's too much for me. It's too much on the brain.
Too much for
me. It's too much on my brain. So May 21st, the event is Buff City Awards. Rob Cornelius is here. Thanks, Rob.
Hey,
appreciate you,
so
brother.
Much, Bishop.
Hey, come on in, Duncan, and we're going to get Eva Doyle on the phone. We're going to talk to Miss Doyle, the Queen Doyle. We're going to talk to in just a second. We are switching out, but that event is May 21st. While we're switching out, Before the end of the show, Duncan and I are going to talk about what he's doing, and then we're going to. I want to debrief. I wasn't here last week. I had a service, huh? Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, good. So we're gonna get Miss Doyle on for her event, and then we're gonna and you guys can move around. I really don't care where you're at. It's good. We're gonna talk about this whole as much as we can, because there are some parents who are electing not to send their children back to school right now. I'm concerned about that because the one thing our children need is to be in school. This is the most important thing for them. And without having some type of hybrid model that allows children to be on computer. My kid is at home right now on computer because schools were canceled because of the ice storm that didn't happen. But but hey, I don't knock anybody for that long. He's in school. I think in these situations, you dag if you do, you dag if you don't. Somebody's gonna say you should open school. If you're that concerned, you might have to run for the school board. I'm gonna get you a mic on in a second. We got her, Miss Doyle. It's still ringing. If you want me to hold, I can hold it, and then let me see if I can. Matter of fact, I'll put it on speaker here because of this wonderful technology that we have. Duncan, first of all, you've been doing your thing.
Thank you, Pastor.
How often are you on planes right now?
A lot. A lot,
Tell me a little bit about that journey. You went from working for an establishment to writing a book to now you're gone like weekly to different places to speak. And you're talking about resilience. You're talking about all those things that are in your book. What happened? How did you go from speaking at local charter schools to now going across the country?
Yeah, it's,
and out of the country too.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, I'm doing Singapore next month, India the month after that.
Wait a minute. I want them to hear what you just said. You ain't talking about Singapore, Ohio.
No.
You're going to Singapore.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a college out there. I did a talk for the United Women in Singapore last year, and they liked it, so they recommended me to one of their colleges out there to speak. And God is just so good. You know what I mean? Like, it really changed when I ran for office. Because I had to leave my job at Northland in order to run for office. Mm-hmm. And then I lost, and I didn't have no plan. You know what I'm saying? So June 27th came, the election night. We all at the Oak Room looking at the results. Duncan lost. And then the next day, my wife's like, "So what's up?" I don't know.
What's up? Because this light bill got to be paid. The gas bill too. Baby need a new pair of shoes.
And I just thank God that we.
So walk me through that, because this is important. You lose the election, and we had the governor here Sunday, and the governor talked about how when she lost her election and she comes to church like here, she did after she lost, and she said it was that message of faith that then she readjusted. And I said the other day in the sermon, rejection is an opportunity for new direction. Mm-hmm. You then decided to do what?
So I had in the Army, one of my jobs was to train soldiers to become more resilient.
Okay.
So once I had some time, you're like, I want to do this. I always wanted to do, but you never feel like you got the time. Well, when I lost the election, I had time. Mm-hmm. No job, no potential, no nothing. And so I wrote this book on resilience using that Army training mixed with some, principles on being and purpose from, greats like Eckhart Tolle and Ouspensky, and made something that everyday person could use to become more resilient. And I had this big plan. We published it March 2020, and I was going to do this big launch. Key Bank was going to buy 200 copies. It was going to be here at True Bethel. It was going to be amazing. And then COVID hit. And everything got canceled. Everything got shut down. And then what we found a couple of months into the pandemic was people feel more isolated, more depressed. Anxiety is up. Suicide is up among all ages, all races, all socioeconomic classes. So people started reaching out to me to come do talks, come do trainings. And so before I knew it, it was the STEP program.
So wait a minute. I'm going to slow you down. Usually you here to talk about other things, and I really do want to dig into this story a little bit. How long did it take you to write the book?
It took me about 4 months, but it should have only took 2 months. But I got writer's block, and then after a couple days go by of not writing, then a couple more, it's hard to get back into that writing flow every day. So I had like this big gap of like 3 weeks in there to get back in the flow. But all in all, about 4 months.
So were you writing? Were you typing, writing?
I was typing. I typed every day.
Okay.
So every day I was typing. I was going to call the book Military Grade Resilience.
Okay.
And Sam Radford, one of my mentors, said, don't call it that.
I agree with him.
Because some people hear military and instantly are turned off.
Right.
So we changed the title to Rerouting, because I talk about that in my speeches, that like if you put your life like a GPS, if there's a wrong turn, it doesn't break down, it doesn't call mom crying, it just says rerouting.
Yep.
And so that's
I have a sermon, and the day Crystal Peoples-Stokes, I remember when she joined the church, it was after I did a sermon on GPS. And this was when GPS wasn't, you had to rent it at Hertz. People really didn't have them in the car. And that rerouting, that was what that sermon was about. And you did it. How did you start getting all of the engagements?
So this is one thing that nobody told me as a child. So the first thing is find what you love and what you're good at. I've always been good at talking, always been good at speaking, storytelling. But as a kid, I got in trouble for it, chastised for it, detention in school. They used to write notes on the report card, Duncan won't stop talking. Duncan won't stop distracting classmates, right? So I had this superpower in me my whole life, but it wasn't until college it started coming out in debate teams and student government, stuff like that. So the first thing I had to learn, what's the thing I'm great at? The second thing is go in with both feet. So I didn't start getting real results until I quit my job. So during the pandemic, I got this virtual job working to fight for paid family leave and get Congress to pass a federal paid family leave policy. Great job. It was paying like $80,000 virtual, so I'm only working like 5 hours a day from home. And it just got to a point where I told my wife, I said, Carolyn, I can't become a speaker trying to sneak to do my speaking work and marketing between Zoom calls. So I'm like, I got to leave this job. So she said, well, this was in like November. She said, well, why don't you wait till after the 1st? Because during that holiday season, you only working 4 weeks, but you getting paid for like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll wait. So we, that's the wife,
Right.
So we wait. And then first week as soon as we get back from Christmas break, I say, I'm leaving, 2 weeks notice. They said, stay for a month, help us with the transition. So I stay. And then I had 2 gigs at that time, Buff State and the STEP program.
You leave your job, you only got 2 speaking engagements.
That's right.
Okay.
And the moment I left, I'm not going to lie, the first month was scary, terrifying. I must have emailed 300 colleges. I got the spreadsheet at home. I emailed 300 colleges, and I got no responses. Not no's. I didn't get no's. I got no response. I said, Carolyn, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm going to have to figure something out. Because I'm not interested, right? And she was like, well, people already got their graduation speakers. She's encouraging me, and I'm like, all right, let's keep, because I'm like, something got to work. Something got to shake. I put all my eggs in this basket. But then what happened was it started hitting. I got 1 gig, then they referred me to somebody else. Then somebody saw me on LinkedIn. Then somebody saw me over here. And I learned that the more I put into it, the more I was getting out of it. And then it started building this energy and this momentum. And now,
So I figured, and we're going to put her on this phone, or you got her over there? Oh, she's on? Or just call her? Okay. I thought you must have found an agent or something, because at the rate you're going, if anybody goes to your Facebook page and you see all of these engagements, and it's not Zoom engagements, it's Duncan in person for the most part.
For the most part, about 80% in person.
80%, so that's the most part, and it's diverse audiences. I saw one school where I don't know if I saw one African American child, but they were like glued, looking straight at you and listening. So now this has become your full-time job.
Absolutely, and I'm just so blessed. Like I tell people, it's the freedom but it's also the joy when you do what you love.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when you find that purpose, that calling, and you get to do it every day. Oh, man, it feel good.
Yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
don't even hit me the same no more. People start throwing shade, start hating. I'm like, oh, okay.
But now you understand why when somebody says, "Oh, such says something about you," I'll be thinking to myself, I don't care. I'm so busy in my life that I go like, everybody has the opportunity to throw shade. Okay, but you don't have to receive that.
No, you don't.
And when you are successful in what you're doing, and I don't, we all measure success differently, but when you feel successful, there's a difference. Like you said, when stuff come at you, you're like, oh, okay. It's not even like that stuff that keeps you up all night trying to figure out somebody else because you're too busy trying to figure out your next move.
Man.
What's next for Duncan? And we're going to get Eva Doyle on the line.
So I just signed a contract with a group of schools in California. So I'm going to do a West Coast tour in the fall. This network of schools has 80 schools, as 5 of them have signed a year-long professional development contract. So all through the fall, I'm going to be doing back and forth to Cal. And I want to get like 10 or 15. If I get like 10 or 15 of them schools, it'll be a whole nother lifetime. It'll be a whole nother life happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, God is just good and just growing with it and just continuing to walk in my purpose and use my gifts.
Yeah.
And I just thank you for the support and everybody in Buffalo.
And big ups to Carolyn, to your wife, who I think I'm blessed to have an incredible wife who gives me I'm ready for you, the right advice at the right time. I think about McKinley, and I wasn't going to comment on McKinley that night. And I told Monique, I said, I'm not going to comment because I don't have the power to really make the change. I'm not on the Board of Education. It's a whole different government. And by the time the 3rd news agency called and I didn't blow them off, it was because she said to me, you still are a father. You are somebody that people listen to. And I feel, she's on speakerphone, I feel that you should, because some people need that hope that you'll bring to the mic. To this day, I'm still getting people saying, thank you for standing up for the students. Because for me, regardless of whether we have SROs, whatever, we got to listen to students.
Absolutely.
We got to listen to parents. And we got to listen to those teachers and administrators who are in those buildings. And one of the things that I've said, and I continue to say, I'm not here to cast blame on anybody. If I have a platform and I can help, if I've got a voice, I can help. I just need to know where that is. And that's the only thing I've said, is that there has to be more, instead of saying, everybody got to get involved. Well, I don't know what that looks like. I can't go in my son's school right now. You can't. The parents can't enter because of COVID protocols. So I don't know what that looks like. But the minute we do figure that out, and the leaders who are charged with figuring that out, I'm there. And I've worked with Sam. When Sam came to me and we did Parent Power, that's because Sam and I sat down. He said, this is what we need, and this is how we're going to try to get to it. So I think that that's so important. We're going to get Eva on, then I want to hear your opinion about, Ms. Doyle, I'm sorry, and then I'm going to hear your opinion about this. Ms. Doyle, are you there?
Oh, yes, Bishop Pridgen, I'm here. I apologize. Something happened to my phone line.
You never have to apologize to us. We're fine, dear.
Yes, very quickly, because I know you have a full agenda. Bishop, I just published my 12th book, and I've been having book signings. Let me give you the title of the book. It's kind of a long title. It's called Eye on History, The Golden Collection, Articles on African and African-American History, Lost History, Forgotten History. And I want to say that this book represents 25 years of my very intense research going back 1,000 years ago in Africa, and it brings it up to the present time. So I wanted to present to you a complimentary copy. The book comes in softcover and hardcover, but I have a hardcover book for you, Bishop.
Wow.
I'm going to autograph it for you. It's for you and your family. I think you will enjoy the book. There are things in this book that people do not know about our history. So that's why I wanted to come in person, but the weather was a little dicey.
We're fine. Ms. Doyle, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Duncan. How long did it take you to write this book, and do you write every day?
I write the column Eye on History, Bishop. I started writing the column in the Challenger back in the 1979. My column is, in this month, my column is 44 years old.
Wow, it's older than Duncan.
It has never missed a week being published in the city of Buffalo for 44 years. But getting back to your question, it didn't take me long. I actually published the book in October, and December, a week before Christmas, it was done.
Wow.
Because I'm very disciplined when it comes to writing. I can write straight for 3 or 4 hours without stopping. But the one thing people need to know about my articles, it takes a lot of research. My column is in the Buffalo News every Sunday this month. And for each one of those articles, it takes me 3 hours of research to write one article.
Wow.
So I want to thank the News for publishing my column. They've been doing it for the last 12 years. And I will end with this because I know you have a lot to talk about. I will be at Top Supermarket tomorrow from 1 to 3 p.m., the Tops on Jefferson. I will be signing my book. I hope people will come out. They can get the soft or the hardcover. And if they can't make it, they can order the book on Amazon.com.
I love it. 1 to 3 at Tops.
How can I get my book to you?
I'm going to try to stop over to Tops. I'm going to try to bring it to Tops, and I'm right down the street.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there from 1 to 3. And thank you, Bishop. You have been so helpful to me and so supportive. And I wanted to do something to give you a special thank you.
Thank you, Miss Doyle. We appreciate you, Queen.
Have a good day.
All right. Now, Duncan, you got cameras here. What's going on?
No, I'm just I'm spending the next 4 hours recording videos and content. So I hired my favorite, she's an amazing videographer, her and her team. So they're going to record the videos, and then we'll chop them up so I can put them on social and use to inspire young people and stuff like that.
Give me your opinion, McKinley, and what's going on.
Yeah, it's just tragic.
Yeah.
What we're seeing, happen in some of our schools, but it's been building to this. And it's not a blame thing. I
agree with you.
I have faded out of Buffalo politics and stuff, but I'll say this: the thing that is challenging about a lot of the leadership, not you, of course, but a lot of elected officials. I told you this when I first moved back. It was the first conversation I had with you.
Yes.
Is everything feels personal to them. So any type of criticism of something that they're responsible for feels like a personal attack. And that's not the case. So if I say, hey, this could be better, or hey, the suspension numbers are the highest in the state, that's not an attack on you. That's not saying you're not doing your job, because over here you may be doing great, the graduation rate is up, this is going well.
Right.
But if everybody's just cheerleading the good and ignoring the bad doesn't get affected.
Amen.
It doesn't grow. And so one of the challenges is people being receptive and open to working together, even if someone doesn't agree with you all the time.
And nobody's going to agree with you all the time. And being an elected official, first of all, is a privilege. It is not a right. It is a privilege. And I think that when people don't agree with us, we have to listen and say, and that's what I've said about
That's what you did
school.
with the land trust.
That's what I did with the land trust. I did not understand land trust, and it was India who sat down and others and in the fruit belt, Harville, all kinds. What's his name? Hill. The Hills sat down, explained it to me, gave me and I supported it. That, to me, is good government. We have a thing up right now, segue, on our Facebook page for Ellicott District, asking people where the worst sidewalks and streets in Ellicott District. I want to say that again, in Ellicott District, because we've got this money coming in from the federal government for infrastructure. I could go out there, or Public Works can go out there, but I want to hear from people. Some people take advantage of it and go, our streets. Well, come on. We're not. Let's have a real conversation so that when you say our street is really bad, we can evaluate it and get it done. Them saying that isn't critical of me. I don't make the thaw and cycle that causes potholes, but I do have a responsibility to listen to people. That's all.
And let me tell you who not gangbanging in the schools. Kids at City Honors.
and their attendance is almost perfect.
When we have snow days, kids at City Honor still got work every time, every day.
Yeah.
You know who not gangbanging? Kids at Olmsted. Mm-hmm. Right? You know who not stabbing other little middle school kids? Kids at West Buffalo Charter School. Like kids.
So what's the difference?
The difference is the expectation, the leadership. Now, listen, I know you'll say, oh, those are the cream of the crop kids, and they have to test in. That's its own issue. But the idea the point I'm trying to say is at schools where there is a high quality education given to the students, there's high expectations, there's supports, their students are being challenged, and they're put on the path to go to college, go to trade school, go to career, whatever it's going to be, and it's clear to them. Like you at 12 years old, you know, okay, I'm going to college. Mm-hmm. I know how it's going to get paid for. I know what I'm a major in. I have an idea. Well, now that stupid science class has value. Mm-hmm. But if you at a school and they just like, we just trying to get y'all to graduation, most of y'all ain't going to graduate. Well, then to you, it don't have the same value. So there's a vision gap as well as the achievement gap. And that's not all on the schools. Some of that is us as a community. Some of that is us as parents. So I'm not in no way absolving or blaming. But what I'm saying is where there are high quality schools, kids ain't shooting each other.
Right.
They're not bringing weapons to school to harm each other. And so the school has a role in creating a narrative or an environment where students can feel like they can be something. We're spending $1 billion a year, twice the budget of the city, and now they got an extra $300 million. You know, they talk about giving teachers raises, giving administrators raises. I mean, you know, it would be good for the kids to feel some of that impact that money is meant for, so they can say, oh, well, you know what? Now we got more guidance counselors. You see your guidance counselor more than twice a year.
One of the things, and I still have a teenager in Buffalo Public Schools, and this restorative justice, I think, is so important. I think it's important. When I grew up, if you, I don't mean fighting, but you did something wrong, you did detention, or you didn't get suspended or kicked out of school because I got so many students I can't handle this one, and I think that our children suffer because of that, because then they get kicked out. Now it's on their record. Now they can't get into a city honors possibly or something else depending on their behavior. And at the end of the day, and I keep saying this, and I know I spend a lot of shows talking about education, but from my heart, to me, this is the most important thing that we have to get right.
But it only, Pastor, the code of conduct, our board, superintendent, parent groups did an incredible job writing the code of conduct. Buffalo's code of conduct and BPS is incredible. Mm-hmm. Okay, the restorative justice practices, that whole restorative justice piece is incredibly written, mm-hmm. but it don't work if teachers are just outright refusing to implement it. Like, it just don't work, and then some of them are outright refusing. The superintendent put them through training. They do professional development on it. But if they're just outright saying, "Oh, restorative," that means the kids are not going to get punished.
Oh, and that is not what it means, right?
But that's what they say to me. Oh, we got to have a way to punish them when they're bad. And what we try to explain is that punishing them when they're quote unquote behaving badly or whatever doesn't solve your problem.
Right.
A restorative circle may actually solve your problem. And so, you know, we're hoping that the superintendent is bringing in some community groups into the schools and stuff. So hopefully that'll have an impact with the young people. But to your point, the restorative, that's the answer. We're looking for not a be-all, end-all, but a major impact in how we transform the minds and hearts of our children. Restorative justice, not creating criminals, not looking at them like they're
Absolutely.
monsters, but treating them like they're a human who's hurt. And we want to start to heal those wounds so they see themselves as something special and successful and loved and cared for. That's the rest answer to everything. I mean, just be honest, that's the answer to everything.
Yeah.
You know?
And I agree with you. I mean, we're on the same page. We're often on the same page, especially when we talk about education. I'm glad to hear some of the changes, for instance, at McKinley, bringing in more of a social environment, more than we're just going to bring in more police, but we're going to bring in people that can help children through life. And to me, that has to happen all over the place. Mm-hmm. And if that means, because our federal government is able to come up with money like that when they want to come up with money like that. Now, I don't want anybody to get to get this twisted. The reason there are billions of dollars flowing out of Washington right now Because at the end, it's going to help people in business. Because when you give the city of Buffalo all this money for infrastructure, for streets, sidewalks, and all that, most of the businesses are not owned by African Americans. So we will benefit by not having a pothole. But what we won't benefit on, especially if the education system is suffering more, we won't benefit on that big dollar. So we will scrap each other and scratch out each other's eyes for the crumbs and miss the whole cake. I remember, and I don't think Mark was with me, I was teaching a class for Full Gospel, and one of the bishops was in the room, and he said, you know, I've learned I don't want a piece of the pie. And in everybody's head, they thought he was going to say, I want the whole pie. And that's not what he said. He said, I want the recipe. I don't want a piece of the pie. Give me the recipe. That's why I asked you. I asked you to be nosy. How did you do this? How did you do that? How did you? Because there's somebody else out there. And I'll be honest, I got a book on my computer I've been writing for 9 years. And so when you share with me, I hit a block, but I have to write every day. When Sister Doyle says, I'm disciplined in writing, it is that kind of information and that sharing of information. Mark has a book that he wrote. At the end of the day, we have to
helped
share.
me when I had writer's block.
Tell me about that, Mark. I didn't know this. But see, that's the stuff we have to share.
I asked for help.
What happened?
I don't even remember what he's referring to.
You and Monique were in the office.
Uh-huh.
And I was telling you I was writing this book, and I was telling you I was having this writer's block, and I was worried about if people were going to receive it, if how it was written, and I just got stuck, and how do you keep your writer flow? And you told me about your book, and you told me how you did it, everything.
Wow.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, so I have two, and my second one was the oldest manuscript. I started that in like 2004, and it was really all God ordained because I wrote it, and then life happened.
Yeah.
And then all of that was able to be poured back into it and really changed the ending, the whole landscape of it. So I do think, depending on what the book is, God, I always believe God will tell you when it's time to release it.
Well, the book, the one that I had been working on, and I even went away for a few weeks to just write, is Jump in the Deep End, and it is about the 2 feet in, and really around a story. And I know we got to go. This has been a great day of sharing with brothers. Period. I had a pool at a house that I owned, and I wasn't a swimmer, and I would teach my kids how to swim, but I wasn't a swimmer. And somebody bet me if I jumped in the deep end, how much money they would give me, and I still couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it until I made up in my mind. Once my son said, if you jump in, I didn't notice because it was an 8-foot pool. If you jump in and you relax, you're going to come back up. And I knew then that had to be something I learned in my life, that if I didn't panic and I relaxed and I let the process do what it needed to do, I would come to the top. And so I worked out their indexes there and all that. My point is, this is the kind of conversation that inspires, that drives. So I do want to thank you for sharing that about Mark, because who's holding your ladder? That book, we all need somebody when that ladder gets shaky to hold our ladder. I know I've talked a lot. I'm sorry, you all. Go ahead, Mark.
I just want to drop breaking news before we go to the announcement. The officer that killed Dante Wright only got sentenced to 2 years. And the time she's already served.
Wow.
Hobson's the doctor dry cleaning. Whole nother conversation. 874 East Delavan. Thank you, Dr. Hobson, Mrs. Hobson, for continuing to sponsor this show. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, 3 locations to serve you. 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, and 1275 Sycamore. In your hour of need, it's Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Duncan, thanks for being here. I'm sending it back over to the station until next week. Power to the people.
Peace.